I might have to move up my timeline. I told Paulie yesterday, I want to see what Wembanyama does last night against the Dallas Mavericks with a good front line and Cooper Flagg making his debut. And I have him as the MVP next year. I got Luka this year. All of a sudden I'm watching and I go, I think I got to move it up maybe a year because that was an impressive performance last night by Victor Wembanyama. And Jay Billis was the analyst on the call. And Jay's excitement is what kind of stood out, that he was truly amazed what he was seeing with Victor Wembanyama, that he likened it to when you play Nerf basketball in your bedroom and you're dominating and, you're dunking on everybody. That's what it looked like. He does a lot of different things, and he has added 15 pounds. He's got a good touch, good handle. He can guard the perimeter from the paint. He can shoot the three. And my big question his first year, and I thought the Spurs didn't do this well by getting him a good point guard to put him in the right positions. Stephon Castle was the Rookie of the Year, and that's the key with Wembanyama. With that kind of frame, you got to find out, you got to get him to places where he can succeed. He doesn't have a go-to move yet, and that's what I'm waiting to see. When you have that, I got to get a bucket, I'm going to go to this place on the court, or I'm going to make this move. That's what I'm looking for as he adds to his game. But it was impressive. It was fun to see, and he's truly, truly remarkable. There's a lot of players who I've seen over 50 years watching the NBA, longer than that. But when you watch somebody doing something that doesn't seem like it's possible for somebody that big, to be that skilled, they should call him CGI because it just doesn't seem real sometimes when you're watching. But he's 7'4", 7'5", 7'6", and it almost looks like when he stands next to a 7-footer, the 7-footer looks like he's 6'5". But that was fun to see. I don't know how good the Spurs are going to be, but he had the blood clots last year, cut short his season, or he would have been a Defensive Player of the Year. Trying to surround him with a pretty good roster, and I think they can make a big jump because they weren't that good last year. They got the second pick in the draft. Dylan Harper's coming off the bench, but it might be the embryonic stages of what we saw with Duncan and Ginobili and Parker, but they also had David Robinson. You had a couple other performances. VJ Edgecombe had 34 for the 76ers. Now, I love me some Tyrese Maxey. He went for 40. Edgecombe went for 34. So that's 74 points with your backcourt. They end up picking up the win against the Boston Celtics. And I'm watching Joel Embiid, and it's tough to watch what used to be, and I don't know if it can ever be again because he looked like he was really struggling. And I know it's opening night, and maybe he can play himself back into shape, but he's been through a lot. Go back to when he was coming into the NBA with the back. He's gone through a lot, and he's a Hall of Fame player, but I don't think we're going to see anything close to what we saw early in his career. So Anthony Edwards put up 41 for the Timberwolves, and so that's some of the NBA from last night. So 4 players had 40 or more in their team's season opener. That's the most in NBA history. The previous high was 3 set in 2020. That's when Luka went for 43, Anthony Edwards 41, Maxey went for 40, and Victor Wembanyama went for 40. So 4 players, but that was impressive last night. Multiple players scoring 40 or more in what Shaq called Tron, the real opening night of the NBA. And I hope you got to see Charles and Shaq, Ernie and Kenny. It's just kind of weird to see the ESPN logo there because you just swap out TNT and you put ESPN in there. And it was fun. It was fun. They basically said, we're buying that show, putting it here, and then we're just going to change the graphics. Don't change the show. Don't add anybody to this. I don't need to see Stephen A. I don't need to see Greeny. I don't need to see Pat McAfee. Let this stand alone. Don't do anything to it. All you got to do is add water and stir. That's it. Enjoy the victory. You have the best show when it comes to pre and post and halftime of any of the shows in any sport. Just let him have fun. And Charles, they played a clip from the show. They'd reached out to Paulie a month ago and say, hey, we're going to make fun of Charles and his schedule at ESPN. And they used it last night. I'm at a restaurant, and all of a sudden, I got somebody in my family saying, you're on TV. And I didn't know what she meant. I was like, wait, where? And then she goes, and I looked up on the monitor. I go, well, that's ESPN. And then all of a sudden I saw Charles. And then they joked about what Charles was saying about what his schedule was not going to be at ESPN. He wasn't going to be doing Ocho and Deportes and Paul Feinbaum and Get Up and Get Down and Get Around and Pardon the Interruption and all of these things. So it was nice. It was fun to see.